started to wonder, and I wondered, which led me to wonder. I had to wonder. I started to wonder. I couldn't help but 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 wonder. Couldn't help but wonder. I couldn't help but wonder. I couldn't help but wonder.
What's up, fuckers? Welcome to City Girls Make Do. I'm your host, Alex, aka a hat-loving bitch.
I'm your host, Stephanie, aka Shippy Shipman.
Today we're on season 2, episode 5, 4 Women and a Funeral.
Yeah, they sure do go to a funeral. It sure is a lot of death in this episode, but it's like, it's still a pretty funny episode, despite all the death. So,
we are recording this close to Halloween, but it is gone Halloween and will definitely be gone by the time we upload this.
This would have been a good, theme episode for Halloween.
Yeah, we could have thought ahead, but we didn't.
No. Why would we ever think? Let alone ahead.
If you're goth, then it's always Halloween.
Exactly.
So, what do you think, first of all?
I thought this was I thought this was a fine episode, but there was there were a couple things in this episode that I really hated to see. So I don't know. I mean, it was a good episode, but I was also a little bit grumpy about it. What about you?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty run of the mill. This is a pretty typical episode, in my opinion. But I didn't love it. So I feel like we hate it for the same reason.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Let's jump into
a big
it.
reason. Yeah.
So we start off with Carrie getting ready, and she says there are 2 times it's acceptable to wear a LBD in daytime. One is when you're leaving the party too late, and the other is when someone has left the party too early, aka died.
Which, I mean, nice wordplay, I guess. Not wordplay. Nice, I don't know. Whatever you're going for, it worked.
It's a bit of a long way to go around, but sure. We find out that her friend Javier, who was a fashion designer, had OD'd, I suppose.
Yeah, he loved heroin more than he loved, what was it? He loved heroin. I wrote this down. What did he love more than less than heroin?
I don't know. Probably something stupid, Ruffles or, I don't know, Tool.
Oh, he loved clothes, but loved heroin more. That's what yes.
Oh, that's a bit basic, but okay.
Yeah, which is her way of basically being yes, he OD'd without just saying it outright.
Yeah, because if your friend...
this guy loved heroin.
If your friend sadly, tragically dies of a drug overdose, you need to be witty about it.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
I also think it's weird that she calls him a good friend.
Never heard of him. Never seen
first
him.
of all, because never heard of him, never seen him. And also, I feel I don't want to be judgmental of people doing drugs at all, but I feel if I had, a good friend who started doing heroin, a lot, I'd probably be are you okay? Because there's maybe drugs that are a little bit less dangerous that you can be doing.
There are drugs, obviously, with better reputations. And there's party drugs, which people kind of do for fun, and then there's drugs where it's this is good, this is making you any happier. Heroin is one of those drugs.
Heroin is not a party drug, for sure.
It's not something you do I've done it a couple of times. It's heroin.
Yeah, it's one of the a couple of drugs I would never ever touch in my life.
No.
Other ones I'm maybe once or twice, but this one I'm yeah. But anyway, that's kind of a tangent.
It's sad. So Samantha arrives at the door, and she's wearing an outfit. It's a blue. What do they call it? Where it's a suit, but it's a skirt.
Yeah, I don't know what that's called, but it's pale blue, and she's got a big hat on.
It's quail.
Quail it's egg. Intense, and she paid $2,000 for it.
$2,000.
It's a
dollars.
Yeah. It's one of Javier's designs.
Yeah.
So since he died, it's been marked up 30%. So
Which is true but sad. And
they're
she also
incredibly nonchalant about
she's
all
so
of this.
nonchalant about this. It's kind of, she's heartless, and she has a huge white hat on and a white fur. I think the white fur from last week.
Huh? Yes.
And she is just being kind of, cavalier about the whole thing. And so Carrie's kind of upset about it. Then Charlotte arrives, and they're both saying how inappropriate it is that she's wearing this. Charlotte's obviously wearing black.
Yeah.
We see in a later scene though, Carrie's funeral dress has on both legs splits up to the thighs.
Does it? I didn't even notice that. Oh my god.
How are you going to tell someone they're dressed inappropriately for a funeral when you have slits up to your thighs?
Oh my god. Yeah. I mean, at least she ends up not being inappropriate after all.
No.
But given a normal person's funeral, yes, she would be. So.
And then they go to the funeral, and it's Carrie and Charlotte who are the ones who don't fit in. Because everyone is... All right, I do not understand this man's designs, but we'll get there. Everyone is wearing bright colors. They're all Javier's clothing. Carrie basically says that it was his, full runway. There's a guy dressed up as the Joker.
They very look like they're at a circus right now.
It's weird because I think they're meant to be going for Club Kid,
maybe, yeah.
That whole party monster vibe. But everyone's wearing suits.
Very bizarre. It's really I don't know how this guy was a successful designer.
No.
But
Samantha's outfit is something you'd see on Chanel, and then everyone else is dressed like an extra from Party Monster.
Yeah, they are. They just the outfits. I would never wear these anywhere. It's not even I would wear this to a fun party. They're just ugly.
No, there's no correlation with any. Everyone's wearing a different item of clothing. I'm not this is a cohesive idea. No, everyone's wearing something different. It's weird. But everyone's in mourning, obviously, because it's still a funeral. We meet a character called Josefina, who is meant to literally be Donatella Versace, to the point that they compare her to Donatella Versace.
Yeah. Yeah, she starts giving her eulogy, and then Carrie lights up a cigarette, in the middle of the fucking cemetery.
Isn't Charlotte how are you smoking at a funeral?
Yeah, I mean, she's it's what Javier would have wanted.
I guess. I mean, he liked heroin too.
I mean, it sounds like all bets are off at this funeral, kind of. So
fair enough, though. It's a way to go. If that's what you want your funeral to be, go ahead.
True.
But yeah, so Josefina is his sister. Carrie says in her voiceover that she got loads of plastic surgery and turned into Donatella, and now she's the heir of Javier's line, which is exactly what happened with Donatella Versace. It's very on the nose. And this must have only been a few years after Gianni Versace died. So
probably, yeah.
Yeah. It's awkward and weird. And I think, yeah, they say that she's hot like Donatella, which didn't age well. It didn't. Saying someone got plastic surgery to look good and then comparing them to Donatella Versace is very 1999.
Yeah, it was.
But basically, she's setting up a halfway house / rehab center for drug addicts in the fashion industry, which is awfully niche.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they have a lot of issues in the fashion industry. Who knows? You'd think you'd want to set up a halfway house for people who aren't in an industry where they make lots of money.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I'm sure there is a big drug problem. I'm sure there is a drug problem in the fashion industry, but just make a normal rehab center. There are so many celebrity rehab centers as well. There are loads.
Yeah. It doesn't really make that much sense,
No.
but Samantha is then kind of like, I'm going to go help raise money for this. And Carrie says, that's unusually nice of you.
Because Samantha is 100% just doing it for the PR. And she says that. She says, I will have every celebrity's number on my books. So I'm doing it.
Which, I mean, like, I guess good on you for taking advantage of the situation, but also, like...
Good on... I mean, she's taking advantage of vulnerable people, aka drug addicts, but, you know.
Yeah, she's trying to get money from, like, the rich people. So, I mean, like, that's... I mean, her intentions are bad, but she's at least taking money from people who should have less, so...
She's using her evil for good.
Yeah. Comrade Samantha.
Oh, please. She's wearing that, like, that skirt from The Nanny with Mal over it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I love that.
And then, oh, yeah, so we forgot to mention that Charlotte had borrowed Samantha's hat because she felt out of place. And it blows off in the wind, and she runs to go get it, and she meets a widower who I've forgotten the name of.
Oh shit. I should have written it down, didn't I?
I feel like it was Ed.
I think it's Ned. Isn't it Ned? I can't remember.
Ned,
Ed, I think
Doug, Dave, I don't know. Something with a D.
It made me think of Ned the Pie Maker because I was like, oh, another person that has a connection to dead people is Ned from Pushing Daisies.
Oh, I would love if Lee Pace was in this.
I would love if Lee Pace was in everything.
Yeah. He's good. He's very tall.
Very tall. Mm-hmm.
he's a tall boy. He's a tall glass of water.
He's a tall glass of water. Mm-hmm.
And he'd be very refreshing. But no, it's just this guy who's pretty bland. And he's by the grave of his dead wife.
She loved hats.
She loved hats. Who doesn't?
Right? Hat. Yeah, and Charlotte kind of starts just talking to him, and after he mentions that it's his wife, Charlotte's like, oh, kids? And the guy had no kids, so Charlotte's like, I'm in.
She doesn't even do it in a graceful way. She's not like, oh, no, did you have any children? You know, if you did have kids, that'd be horrible.
Yeah.
I won't bang you. Also, now you have to be a single father to mourning children. Fuck you.
Yeah, it's Charlotte does not have the most chill here, but
no, but yeah, and then we go to the taxi as they go home. Everyone is like kind of appalled that Charlotte managed to pick a guy up at his wife's grave.
They all kind of seem to have like a little bit of a problem with it, and Charlotte's like going off about how having a dead wife will probably make him more sensitive, and that she makes her like more attracted to him. Yeah, and that maybe it'll make him better with commitment and stuff. And Carrie says, you know, like Big was, well, no, because Samantha says date a divorced man instead. And then there's no dead wife involved. And Carrie's like, okay, well, Big was divorced and he hated commitment. Like, this isn't about you.
She makes everything
Carrie.
about herself. But I mean, I think Samantha does have a point here. Like, it's a bit weird.
It's kind of weird. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no issue with obviously dating someone who had lost their significant other, but like when they're kind of fresh and mourning still.
Yeah, I think it depends on how long it's been for sure, but it seems like based on this episode, it seems like it's pretty fresh. So,
but yeah, Samantha has a point that I don't think that proves he can commit, and Charlotte seems to be kind of making it a bit fetishy. It's very Rebecca though.
Yeah, it very is.
That's what I would be worried about. That, you know, if it's a divorce, it's ended between the both of them. But if one of them died, they might still be into him. That's my only concern.
Yeah, it would be kind of like there's always someone else there that they never have to stop loving, I guess. Which I guess like it isn't like a bad thing, but it is like weird to deal with when it's fresh, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think it's not the time to jump into something quickly or head first, but that's not Charlotte. So we go to our favorite character, Miranda.
I love her.
And she's doing something good. She is buying her an apartment.
Miranda was really good in this episode. Very, very like relatable, and also just I love her. Um, yeah,
She's being shown around this like apartment, which is lovely.
It's a big apartment. It's nice. Like for one person, this is a killer apartment.
And the real estate agent is like, "Oh, is your husband or your boyfriend moving in?" And Miranda's, "No, just me." Which is her little catchphrase this episode.
Yeah.
And she's just totally in love with the place, buys it right there.
I'm a little bit surprised. It looks like this is like the first time she's seen it, and she hasn't even had it like inspected or anything. And it's not like she's renting it. Like it doesn't even look like she's looked in any of the cupboards or looked at like in the bathroom or anything. And she's like, I'm buying it.
And I think especially if you are buying something by yourself, you want to have another person there just to, because you might miss something. But
yeah, I guess for the sake of the story, it works. So.
Well, yeah, because she says later she was measuring furniture, and I'm like, shouldn't you do that before? Presumably you have furniture to move, whatever. But I guess, yeah, it's a story purpose, not realistic home buying. And then we have Carrie seductively smoking by billowing windows.
Oh, yeah, as she does.
White sheer curtains just flowing over her. It's so dramatic.
It's so dramatic. It's perfect scenery for when you are starting to wonder about something.
Yeah. This is how I imagine I look all the time. Just softly lit, looking off in the distance.
That's good.
It is, yeah.
Something here that I thought was really weird, and I don't understand it at all, because she says, in a city where they give you the Sunday paper on Saturday, how did any of us know how much time we had left? So what do you mean get the Sunday paper on Saturday? Is that a New York thing? Like, what does that mean? Is it just a figure of speech?
I don't know. I've never lived in New York. So, I mean, that's where our major failing with this show is.
No, it's not relatable to like the, however many
New Yorkers
don't live there. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess maybe you get it on a Saturday night. But who's reading a newspaper it's like over here we have the Evening Standard, which they give out in the afternoon or in the evening to like rush hour on the way back to home. And I'm like, who cares? Are you reading a newspaper in the evening? I read it in the morning. How much do you think is fucking changed? I also have my phone.
True. Yeah, I don't get it.
See people handing out free newspapers every time I get on the train station. And I'm like, I don't need this.
I thought the only difference with the Sunday paper was that the Sunday paper is in color.
Is that a thing?
The thing where I've lived, the Sunday paper will be in color, and like all the comics will be in color, and the rest of the week everything's in black and white. I mean, that's just like in
the 1950s.
I don't know. Well, I mean, maybe it's because I don't live in like a huge city or anything, but that's what I was always used to growing up. The Sunday paper was special and colorful.
I mean, maybe that was the thing. But I don't know. I don't really read newspapers, but as far as I know, they're all in color over here.
Interesting.
I always thought the Sunday paper was more like less news, more human interest and stuff. I don't know.
All I know is that the Sunday paper would have like 2 full pages of comics instead of just 1 page of comics when I was growing up. So I liked that.
That is good.
But Carrie is, okay, so she's smoking and she holds up this paper as she's thinking about, like, we don't even know how much time we have left. And when she holds up the paper, there's an article on it that's titled Tragic Ironies on Holocaust Day. And
why do you need to choose that for your newspaper prop?
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking, or if maybe they just picked up some newspaper from the actual city that day. I don't know.
I mean, I think you are the only person in the world who's ever read the newspaper in Sex and the City.
True. like
But
morally obligated to because she has a column in a paper. So
I think there's like famously like a specific prop newspaper that is used in a lot of films. And
interesting.
But I do not think it's that one because that's a weird thing.
I think if they were going to use any prop newspaper for this show, they'd just use Carrie's paper because it's not a real publication because it's like the New York Star or something.
Well,
so like I feel like they would just use that.
Yeah, and you assume that she would have a subscription to it since it's her fucking paper.
She probably gets a free subscription. Like half my family works for the newspaper in my hometown, and my family always got free subscriptions to the newspaper and like reduced fee subscriptions for the rest of our family.
Yeah.
So like, yeah.
But
yeah, Carrie voiceover, she says sometimes she feels like she's barely living, like she's never been to Greece. She hasn't even paid her visa bill. So you know what the best thing to do is when you haven't paid your visa bill and you've never been to Greece before? You gotta call your ex-boyfriend who sucks big ass.
No, just save money and then you can if she saved money, she could do both of those things.
She could. I guess, or she could just call up someone who has a lot more money than her, but it's not like he ever pays off her visa bill anyway. So what's he even good for?
Greece is a nice place, so.
Greece is a nice place. She should just go to Greece and then have a super big visa bill, and then she's killed one bird.
I've got
with
it.
one stone.
She goes to Greece, changes her name to Donna, and now she's in Mamma Mia.
I like this a lot more.
She does have blonde curly hair.
Oh, I think this would be a lot better than what she does this episode.
Yeah.
I really hate this. She calls big and she's like, I just got back from a funeral. Which, okay. He's like, okay, so you decided to call me. And then they decide that they'll have dinner together and make plans for Saturday. And I want to vomit thinking about this. I hate it so much.
I hate it too because he's just a piece of he's horrible, and this really is just her having some existential crisis and clinging to the nearest thing.
It's like if she died tomorrow, she doesn't want to be alone, so she'll pick like the best thing possible, which sometimes the best thing possible is just a piece of garbage and you're better off not having it.
Just buy a rabbit.
Like a vibrator or a pet?
Both.
True.
Then you have companionship and pleasure.
That's everything that a man is supposed to give you anyway. So,
but is big? No.
Yeah, big is pretty useless. He doesn't really give her anything that she needs, but he's back. It's only been like 5 episodes, but he's back.
And then we see Samantha is trying to get sponsors for Javier House. And she's talking to this creep called Dick. And I was looking at my notes and I just have the word dick written down.
That could mean anything.
Yeah, I don't know. He's some rich guy. He starts flirting with her and doesn't he say that she's too beautiful for something?
Something like that. And he's like, why don't we talk about me giving you money over dinner? And I hate it. I hate it because they start making out and then his wife walks in on them.
Yeah.
So
I want to say, I think I wrote her name down. She has some stupid name.
I think it's Sandy or something.
I think it is Sandy.
Yeah. No one has a valid name. Oh, their names together. Their names are Sandy Dick. I hate it.
Me too.
Sandy Dick is how I feel when I watch the scenes with Big and Carrie together. Like,
oh yeah, it does feel like sand is in your urethra.
Oh, that's even worse than what I was gonna say. I was gonna say in your foreskin, but urethra's even worse.
If you're circumcised.
That's true.
Circumcised people don't interact.
Don't. It's not your fault, probably, but like still. Anyway, yeah, so after the wife walks in, she sees herself out, and that's like, well, that's like pretty much the end of the scene. But then we also got a Carrie voiceover that's so weird because Carrie's voice is like, oh, so apparently the wife wasn't feeling as charitable as her husband, which I really don't feel like those are the same things, like donating a bunch of money to a charity versus, forgiving your husband for cheating on you. Those are not
No, and it feels
charitable things.
No, it feels implied to me that he seems like a complete scumbag who is kind of doing this in exchange for sex.
Kind of. It's really gross.
Yeah. Because he doesn't even talk. He's not like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll give money. You're really beautiful. Let's go to dinner. It's, let's discuss this over dinner, which is a different thing. So I fucking hate this guy.
Yeah, he's absolute scum.
Yeah.
So
I hope his wife divorces him for every penny.
I hope so, too.
That'd be fun.
I wish we could know. It'd be fun.
So we see Miranda is signing her paperwork for the apartment.
Okay, I have a question about this. So Carrie calls it the mortgage company. Is there such thing as a mortgage company? Aren't those just banks?
I don't... Why are you asking me?
I don't know, but I thought that you just took out a mortgage at the bank. I didn't think there were like mortgage companies.
Yeah, I thought you got it at the bank too.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know shit about owning things. Like owning real estate, that's fake.
Neither of us are ever going to do that. So I haven't even bothered to learn about it. I'm just like, yeah, sure. I mean, I love watching like house hunting shows, but I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, same. I don't know.
So this, I guess the mortgage guy, he is being a fucking arsehole, and he's like, I assume your father will be paying the down payment, and she's like, no, just me.
Yeah, and she's clearly super annoyed about it, which I would be too, because he basically keeps being like, oh, your husband or your father, and like it's really, I don't know, it's so condescending. Like they would never ask a man this.
And she's a fucking lawyer.
No kidding. Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like she's got some weird, it's not like she's got a job which is low paid where you might ask if someone else is helping with this. She's a lawyer at like a top company. She went to Harvard. Shut up.
Like she's clearly very professional too. Like it makes no sense. But well, I mean, it makes sense because I think, like any woman watching this show can agree that you've had someone judge your ability to do stuff based on the fact that you're a woman. But I don't know. But did you write down the really good Carrie line that she said over this?
Yes. Do you want to say it?
Yeah, sure. Carrie's voiceover is like, in the course of an hour, Miranda had checked more single woman boxes than her gynecologist.
That's a good one.
It's a really good line, I gotta say.
I guess, yeah, because she has to write that she's a single woman on every piece of paper, which I didn't realize was a box you had to tick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about like when I file my taxes, there's like one box that'll be like, it won't say single woman, but it'll say like, it'll say single, married, or like separated, divorced, etc. But it doesn't say single woman. But
well, it had to for the joke.
True. It's a good joke. So I'll let it pass.
Yeah, acceptable. So we go to brunch, and Miranda is obviously pissed off about these interactions she's had.
Yeah.
Charlotte says some fuck shit.
Oh God, Charlotte! Like, I am embarrassed at the kind of stuff that she says. Because she's like, buying a place alone means that you don't need a man, and like everyone needs a man. And Charlotte says that she rents because like if she owns a place and the man doesn't, then like the power structure is off. And men don't want
wild.
Yeah. Men don't want self-sufficient. What? I mean, maybe
I guess she's also saying that I don't know, could she afford her own place but just chooses not to?
think so. So she's just throwing a bunch of money away when she probably doesn't need to be. And it's so stupid because, like, sure, there are for sure men who feel this way, but they're not ones I'd want to be dating.
No.
So, like, you weed a lot of them out of the pool.
Did you see that tweet the other day that was like, it was some article and it said, millennial women are saying that they're nervous about earning more than their prospective boyfriends or husbands. And someone replied, no, the fuck we're not.
Jesus Christ. I did not see that, but I'm like, ugh, the person who wrote that, fuck you.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like this topic because I think it is like real because there are men who don't want to be, they still, even though they might claim to be very progressive, but they still had this kind of like 1950s attitude of, I earn more than my wife and she has to look after the babies.
Yeah, and they just feel so emasculated if they make like a penny less. And it's still incredibly real today. It sucks ass. Like, I've gone through that before with someone. It just sucks. It's like, you should never feel bad about being successful or like more successful than your partner, and your partner should just suck it up and be grateful that they're with someone that's like doing well, I guess. Like,
if you feel emasculated, then good.
True. Emasculate more men 2K18.
Yeah. Then perish.
I love the word emasculate. Like, I know, like, when someone's like, oh, I just feel emasculated when this happens, I'm like, you know what? You should. And I'm happy.
Snip, snip.
Like, snip, snip. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, so everyone seems to be very disturbed by Charlotte's weird moment. And Samantha goes to pay for the bill, which I love. I love when I go out to eat and someone just pays for everything.
That's so good. I love Samantha.
But her credit card is declined. And then Samantha's like, that's not possible. And the waitress says, don't get me straight. She gets real for a second. And she's like, not only is your credit card declined, you are declined. You are not accepted here. Get out.
Yeah. They never really made it clear whether anyone paid for the bill or not.
No. Which, hey, free dinner. I mean, I'll take my friend being humiliated if it means free brunch.
Yeah, it's a very interesting situation. And so, like, the whole thing that happened, I guess, is like the wife of the philanthropist put a social hit on her.
Which,
so she's mad.
I guess just means she refused to sponsor any, like, go to any place that served her. Basically, Samantha's been blacklisted by New York as a whole.
Yeah, because one person who we've never heard of before can definitely have that much power.
I'm kind of obsessed with like socialites or the modern day version of them because I'm like, oh, you don't do anything, but you're in control of, because they have this weird, I think it's like some Stepford wife thing where they have zero power over anything else except this one thing, which they go full, like, I don't know, focused on. They just put all their energy and hate and resentment into one thing. I'm obsessed with it. It's why I like Real Housewives. Because I'm like, you guys don't do anything, but you put a lot of hatred, because you have all this pent up aggression that you just put on everything else. I'm obsessed with it.
I need to watch that show one day. Like, I don't know which one I would even watch. I think there's even a Canadian. I think there's like at least one Canadian one. I should watch it sometime.
I think there's like a Hockey Wives thing I saw, which.
God,
that's
amazing.
I'm a Beverly Hills girl. I love me some Erica Jane. I do love Erica Jane. Pat and her pussy, love it. Anyway, so should we go to Charlotte and Ned? ?
Yeah. Yeah, Ned question mark. This was kind of weird because they go out to like a bar, and when he opens his wallet, she sees a photo of his dead wife. It's just like a big photo. Like how often do you see people open their wallet and there's like a big photo of I have a photo in my wallet that's like a family photo from like 5 or 10 years ago, but it's like a small photo that I just keep like in a like pocket. It's not just right there.
I don't. There's not a photo pocket in mine. I do have condoms, which I don't use.
I just have a bunch of cards.
Yeah,
That's it.
same.
Yeah. But he has this picture and she's like, "Oh, wow, is that your wife?"
Yeah, she says she's so pretty.
Which I guess is easy to say when you don't have competition because she's dead. But he's like, well, it's kind of weird talking about her on a date. So, which, yeah, I wouldn't want to really bring that up if I didn't have to.
No.
I don't know.
I mean, it's not even. I think if she didn't already know, then you might bring it up. But it's not like you wouldn't want that to be a disclaimer, would you? You wouldn't want to sit down and be like, okay, before we start, I just need to let you know I have a dead wife.
Yeah, probably not. I guess, yeah, the circumstances of meeting him literally at her tombstone, he doesn't have to explain it as much. But
So they go on like a little walk and leave the bar, I guess, and he just bursts into tears. It's big. Well, because Carrie says in a voiceover that Charlotte usually didn't like it when men cried, but this was a huge turn on for her.
Because he's like really sensitive. Like crying because your wife is dead doesn't make you sensitive, it just makes you human.
That is a human reaction to someone you love dying. That's not you being particularly sensitive or emotionally intelligent. If your wife died and you didn't cry, I would be worried.
Yeah, same. Yeah, but he has such a weird reaction to this whole thing because Charlotte's just like, oh, take as much time as you need. And then 45 minutes later, they're boning at his apartment twice. Yeah. And Carrie says he came back to life.
Twice. This is the worst. Okay, so there's like a headshot. I mean, it's clearly an actress's headshot, but it's like a profile portrait of his wife next to the bed on like an A4. It's huge.
So weird because he probably wouldn't have had that before she died, right? Like,
oh, I mean, I'm sorry, you don't make every person you sleep with have an A4 size headshot of you next to their bed? Even
your spouse seems like, because the thing about your spouse is you just roll over and you can see their face. So do you need to have a big portrait of them right next to your bed? I mean, I know she's dead now, but like you.
I like to imagine it was on her side of the bed and she just wants to look at herself.
I love that so much. Like, is there a portrait of him on the other side of the bed? Like, I'm confused about how this works.
That would be so funny. I mean, maybe they've got like an I Love Lucy thing. And was that I Love Lucy? They slept in separate beds. But there should be, I think there was a show where they had like their portraits above their own bed, which would be funny.
So
just
much.
Like your portrait on the top of your side of your bed.
I don't like that at all.
No, it's so weird.
Mm-hmm. But only reason there's pictures of me in my room is because I have pictures of me with like other people.
Yeah.
Not just like a headshot, but I don't know. So much of this episode is like for the sake of the story.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I have like maybe a baby picture of me in my room.
Actually, now that I think about it, we do have our well, I guess I don't want to spoil the end of Samantha's part of this episode, but this is very much an episode where things happen just to further the story. So
yeah, this really does feel like an episode that was written in about 20 minutes. So, yeah, then we get a walk with Carrie and Miranda.
Carrie looks like Elaine from Seinfeld in this scene.
Oh my god, yeah, she's wearing this like red, it's like a red blazer with huge shoulder pads.
Yeah, and her hair is tied back in a low ponytail, and it's like still really curly,
It's
and so
very
she's
Elaine.
like blonde. She's a very blonde Elaine. It's so good.
Yeah, I think Charlotte's there too. They're walking, I guess, in Central Park or something. And, oh God, Carrie's outfit is wild.
Love it so much. Like, I would wear this out in public. It's really good.
So Charlotte's talking about the sex that she had, and she says she felt like Liz, who is the dead wife, was watching over them.
Yeah, and giving her blessing.
Charlotte is so clearly getting off on this.
Literally.
It's such a weird, it feels like a fetish. Like, oh, he's got a dead wife and I'm cucking the dead wife.
Cucking a dead wife, but she is.
She is. Like, with her ghost watching, it feels like such a cuckold situation.
I really hate that that's the truth, but
because she's enjoying it. She's enjoying the idea. Oh, how would you like that idea? And why would... I'd be... Even if I was with someone and I was like, look, if I go before you, I want you to move on and be happy. I still wouldn't watch them have sex with someone else.
Yeah, it's like, you do you, but, like, be happy, but I'm not gonna be into watching this.
No.
I don't know. Yeah, it's well, Charlotte's just happy about it though, and like he invited her out again, and Miranda's like, so you fucked him back to life, which
Wake me
they
up.
keep making no.
I wrote that down because that was our question, was can a relationship bring you back to life? And I have immediately wrote down, wake me up.
Big fan of their one album.
Evanescence slaps. I think they're like Paramore, where, you know how Hayley Williams and Amy Lee, they probably could have been pop singers, and they also have these amazing voices. But they're like, I'm gonna sing fucking pop punk, and I'm like, yeah, you are.
You are. It's good shit. Like, I don't know. They have bangers. I love them.
It is mainly just Miranda, trying to give Charlotte a second thought on this whole
pretty
thing.
much.
Yeah. And then we get Carrie preparing for the date. This is where we get a question of,
yeah.
can a relationship bring you back to life? It's so corny. I'm not into it.
It's bad. And like the whole time she's like, is this a good idea? I don't know if it's a good idea. But then she's like excited about it at the same time. And
I mean, if you have to ask yourself if it's a good idea, it's probably not.
Yeah.
And she's talking with Big on the day about the afterlife.
Yeah, this is interesting. Like, their faces are super close together. It's way too close to be normal. They're being really flirty and getting like really existential. And
the thing that's confusing me is they're acting like they never broke up.
it's very weird. Yeah, it's kind of just like, oh yeah, we're just reconnecting, and there's nothing in there from either of them that's like, we shouldn't, like, I mean, Carrie does say, I'm not sleeping with you tonight, and kind of suggests that this is all this is just going out for dinner. But like, they're just so not acting like that. Like, that is incredibly not a way you would act with just going out with a friend in public. It's gross to see.
Because she asks him what he thinks heaven is like, and he says a big bed, and she's like, that's it? And he's like, it depends who's in the bed.
Yeah, that's when she says, I'm not sleeping with you tonight. And yeah.
And then we like smash cut to them in his doorway making out.
Yeah, I mean, at least Carrie does make the smart decision of being like, I'm gonna go home. Like, we can't do this for now, at least. But then she just walks home and smokes, and she's kind of just thinking about how this whole thing was such a bad idea, which it was. But she's too stupid to ever learn from her mistakes. So
look at just smashing things in the back.
Yeah. I got a new guinea pig cage in the mail today, and I started building the base of it. And so he has a twist tie, and he's just throwing it around.
I love that any excuse on our audio could just be, hey, it's Luca.
You're welcome.
This is what people come here for.
I'm here for Looker, not for us.
No.
If there's a Looker cameo, that's it. That makes the episode.
Then, yeah, we get our little, like, Samantha montage. Because she can't seem to get into any place.
Yeah, she's rejected from, like, 3 places in a row, I guess. And that's pretty much the whole scene, is she just gets rejected from a bunch of places.
Yeah, she's getting thrown out like DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Truly. She does. And then we get to see Miranda. She's like going to measure stuff in her apartment, and she meets her new neighbor in the hallway. And her new neighbor is like this older woman, and she's just like, "Oh, I'm so happy a younger person is moving in." And she says like the last occupant died in Miranda's new apartment, and like it was a week before she was found, and her cat ate half of her face.
I don't think that actually happens.
I don't think it does either, and yet, like, it does seem to be a thing that happens in TV shows, I guess. It just makes me in the middle episode where Hal's like, oh, cats ate her face. Dewey knows more about it than I do.
Yeah. And then we get another good smash cut of Miranda overfeeding her cat.
Pours a huge amount of cat food in the bowl. It's really good.
And she's standing up eating Chinese food, and she starts choking on something.
This is my biggest fear. Choking on something while being home alone.
I never choked on anything, touch wood, but she's like wandering around trying to essentially try and do the Heimlich maneuver on herself so she can push her stomach into something, essentially creating the same force. She's smart like that. I would just resign to my fate.
I would be like very unconvinced that I could actually fall on something that would make it work. I would just like pound my chest with my fist until I broke a rib. Probably.
Like shove my hand down my throat. I don't know. I wouldn't be smart about this.
Yeah, no, she's much smarter than all of us.
Yeah, she eventually finds a box and just shoves that into herself.
Yeah, that's nice and convenient. But yeah, so she frees the piece of meat from her throat, and she's lived. And she calls Carrie, and she's like, "I lived, bitch."
Carrie is wearing this adorable playsuit. I'm sorry we haven't updated the Tumblr with all the outfits, but I will try to remember because this is a look.
Yeah, this is a real look. It's good. Well, but like at first, Carrie doesn't pick up her call because she's screening her calls because she doesn't want to have Big call and have her pick up. So she doesn't pick up till she starts hearing Miranda's message when Miranda's like freaking out about dying alone. And then she does pick up, and Miranda's like, "I'm fine, but like I'm terrified of my own mortality and being alone, etc., etc." And then she locks her cat in her kitchen for 2 days.
Animal abuse.
Kind of is like she does have a big apartment, so maybe her kitchen's big, but it's still weird.
Why don't phones nowadays let you screen? Because that sounds so handy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good point.
Because I don't like missing calls, but if sometimes when this comes up and you don't have the number saved.
Yeah, I just never pick up my phone. I'm like, you're calling me? Even if I know who it is, I'm just like, like, I don't want to pick up my phone.
Whenever my
Like,
doctor's
text
office
me.
calls me, like I don't have their phone saved, their number saved, so I miss it and I have to wait hours to fucking call them back. If I could just screen it, that'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Damn it. So Samantha, this is where Samantha sees Shippy Shipman.
Yeah, this is probably the most galaxy brain name I've seen in the entire show so far. Like Shippy Shipman.
I've seen this thing about like people who don't take their partner's names because they'll be called like Shannon.
But like Shippy? What is Shippy?
Just don't change your name at that point. Or to go double-barreled.
Yeah, I just don't even know what Shippy could possibly be short for.
Well, there's like Tippi Hedren. I think it's just one of those weird old lady names.
I guess so. She's like this. She's the godfather of socialites, I guess. Shippy Shipman.
Shippy Shipman.
And
Shipman.
Shippy Shipman sells seashells by the seashore.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Samantha is basically appealing to her to take down the blacklist.
Yeah, because like this woman is so influential. She's apparently been the demise of like 70 social lives. So, like, but who's counting? I mean, although to be fair, if I was that influential and I'd taken down that many people, I'd be like, oh yeah, I've got a list. Like she sounds like the Cersei Lannister of fucking Sex and the City, of New York City.
Essentially, yeah. She is. If Samantha is the queen slut, then Shippy Shipman is the queen bitch.
Oh, wow. So are you saying that Samantha is Marjorie Tyrell?
Oh my god. Get Brooks back on.
Get Brooks back on immediately.
Well, this is a walk of the week.
Yeah. Yeah, Sam's like trying to get on her good side, and she's like, well, you might know me from the Javier house work. And Shippy's like, no, I know you from the one time you groped my husband at a benefit.
Yeah. And I don't like using this word, but the word whore comes up a lot.
Yeah, because Samantha's kind of like, well, maybe so.
Maybe so, .gif.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, what do you want me to do, Sam? A whore who slept with every man in Manhattan and some of Brooklyn?
She would never sleep with someone from Queens. Let's just get that straight.
No.
But Brooklyn is fine. And yeah, I just kept thinking of Danny DeVito. It'd be so much funny if Danny DeVito was saying whore. He's the only person allowed to say it.
True.
Although
True.
Kim Cattrall does do a good job.
She does, yeah. She gets very dramatic about it. She basically thinks that calling herself this is going to get her off the blacklist. Like, she's like, will you help me now? And Shippy's just like, no. Like, what do you do? She's like, made your bed, now sleep in it, which you should be good at, right?
And then, like, Samantha says something like, the only reason I touched your husband's flat, preppy ass is because I was drunk.
Yeah, she does. And then she just storms out. This is just so much for me. It's just the drama of it all.
This is high drama and I love it. Yeah, we go to Miranda. Who is walking down the street of her new neighborhood and she has a panic attack.
The effects here are interesting. Like the buildings start whirling around her. Like it looks like when I first started watching this, I was like, does she have like severe vertigo? Did she stop eating because she was afraid of choking?
Yeah, I wasn't 100% sure what it was, but they do say it was a panic attack at the hospital.
Yeah, because she gets a cab to the hospital. Carrie shows up, and she had to pay $500 just to go to the hospital, which America, thanks Obama. And then, Miranda has a good line because she's like, take a good look at my face because at my funeral there's only going to be half of it because my cat will have eaten the
I
other
love
half.
how Miranda is like, truly everyone when they've just had a panic attack is immediately sarcasm mode.
Yeah, and then she's like, yeah, Charlotte's just going to be picking up men at my funeral too.
And you know, she gets upset because she's like, my emergency contacts are my parents who live in Pennsylvania and I don't like them. And yeah, Carrie's like, I'll be your emergency contact. And then she says, you screen your calls.
I love it. I love that she just goes in for the kill. I love Miranda.
But yeah, Carrie basically gives her a pep talk and says, you know, you're fine by yourself.
Yeah, that's basically the whole story for Miranda.
I can't even remember
this
it. It's
week.
very lackluster. She just sort of tells her to get over it.
Kind of. She's like, I'm here for you, but also bye. Yeah. So that's it for Miranda. And actually, no, that wasn't the very last thing for Miranda. She has one more scene after this.
Yeah.
But then we get Charlotte.
Charlotte. So the day is a memorial for his wife. On the second day.
Yeah, this is something. And Charlotte's
wearing white.
Yeah, Charlotte brings flowers and she like meets him there. And then like two more women show up and are like getting out of cars with the exact same flowers as Charlotte. Charlotte's like, please tell me those are your sisters. And then he's just like, I don't have any sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And
say they're your sisters, buddy.
I guess he's seeing like three different women at once, and he invited them all to the same date.
Which, how stupid do you have to be?
I don't understand this at all.
I mean, obviously we've made it clear we have issues with cheaters, but you don't invite everyone to the same place when you're dating multiple people unless you are in a polyamorous relationship and everyone's clear what's going on.
Yeah, which clearly is not the case.
No.
With relationship. So, yeah, Charlotte like starts whacking with the flowers multiple times, and then she just runs off and leaves. It's good to see.
I do love that she did wear white. She's wearing like a white dress with black flowers. Which
really
is
good.
It's great. Mm-hmm. Like half bride, half mourning. I'm into it.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so we get the fucking stupidest part of the episode.
I thought this was like yeah. They kind of just call it out for being exactly what it is. Like literally. Yeah.
Samantha is doing like manual labor for Javier House. Presumably they are building the house, which doesn't make sense. You would just buy one.
Yeah.
How much how much space is there in New York? I'm gonna say not a lot to build new houses.
It makes no sense.
I mean, presumably maybe they're refitting somewhere, but whatever. So she's doing like manual labor. She has a little mask on and everything, and everyone's ignoring her. She's clearly pissed off that she has to do this and isn't doing, the glamorous things. And then she meets her Lord and Savior, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. He's not even there. It's like we see this arm stretch out kind of, and there's like a silhouette, and we're supposed to believe that it's Leonardo DiCaprio. And so they literally call it her Leonardo ex machina.
Yeah. We're supposed to believe this Leonardo DiCaprio. Looks nothing like him.
Yeah.
Even in the silhouette.
Nothing. Especially not 90s Leo, which is like prime Leo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he guess the idea is that Leo brings her social life back to life somehow. Like he puts in a good word for her. I don't even know what the point of this is, but
I guess the thing is, yeah, he puts in a good word for her, / if she's shown with Leo, then everyone wants to be with her. But why did they make it Leonardo DiCaprio, but not have Leonardo DiCaprio? Why not just make it someone they could get?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they wanted the name of an actor who like wasn't so big that it would be like not believable for him to be helping out at something like this. Because I mean, well, at the time Leonardo was big because he did have Titanic and he had Titanic and Romeo and Juliet, but like he hadn't done like those were like his two main things at the time. So he was still like a huge actor, but like didn't have, I guess, the prestige yet. Not like the movie The Prestige, but like the, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, this isn't Leonardo's twin that he makes do all the manual labor. I don't know even who was huge in 1999.
I don't know.
Well,
Brad Pitt did Fight
99
Club in 1999.
Yeah. So I don't think he was ginormous. He's not, you know.
Thing I know about 1999 is that it's the year of the really shitty movies that were like, oh, men are so like, we have it so bad, because it was like American Beauty and Fight Club, and there were a few movies that year that were extremely like poor men.
For research, I had to look at who was the sexiest man alive in 1999, you know, People magazine.
Oh, yeah.
And it's Richard Gere.
Really?
No.
Okay.
And the year before it was Harrison Ford.
1998?
Was Harrison Ford.
98? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I can never trust the fucking sexiest person alive.
No, 97 was Clooney, and then 2000 was Pitt.
Yeah, that makes no sense. If you watch the new Hassan Minaj show on Netflix, it's really good. But he has this joke about how how Blake Shelton was sexiest man alive, but he wasn't even the sexiest person on The Voice. He was like the ugliest person on The Voice that year too. Like. Is like Adam Levine sees the cover of this and it's like, what the fuck?
Adam Levine is trash, but he's
trash.
Undeniably hotter than.
The thing is, they're both trash, but one of them is still better looking than the other one. So,
nah, Gwen Stefani, get out.
She's a problematic one.
She's a problematic white fave, but Gavin Rossdale was at least hot. That was this was the thing. Gavin Rossdale was on the UK version of The Voice for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for like one season, and I remember sort of every time watching it feeling extremely awkward.
Interesting.
It was a choice. It's a choice to go on the show where your wife met the person she is now dating, your ex-wife.
Yeah, that's an interesting call, but interesting. Okay.
It's like, okay. You definitely don't seem bitter at all. Anyway, Leo, who is not Leo, saves Samantha, so thank you for that. And then you get our fucking last scene with Big. Oh wait, no, we get Miranda. Thank God. I've never been happier.
I know, right? I like this scene is supposed to be like empowering, but it honestly is just like kind of tiring. I don't know. Like, cause the mortgage guy like makes a mistake on her paper. So it says that she's separated. And then like Miranda had to write a humiliating letter, as like Carrie calls it, saying that she's not separated, she's single. So she's like typing up the letter that's like, hello, I am a single woman. And it's like, I don't think that's humiliating in any way. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but I know when I meet a new person, they say, oh, so do you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend? And I fall on the floor wailing because I have to admit that I'm single.
That's valid.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess it's different because, like, obviously Miranda is a woman in her 30s, but they put so much, like, maybe it was the time, but they just put so much into her being single as, like, or any of them being single as being kind of something to be ashamed of, when they have all these other things going for them, which are so much more interesting. They all have amazing jobs, and they have these wonderful social lives and all these lovely clothes and lovely apartments, and they're like, being single is the worst thing in the world, apparently.
Yeah, the only thing we get that's not like that is really Samantha, because like her character is like the antithesis of that. But
I think that's why Samantha is as popular as she is.
Yeah, true, because she's, like a little bit more relatable that way, where you don't have to be with a man to be happy. But
Yeah.
But Miranda ends the episode happy. Like after she sends the thing, she's like happily unpacking her things, and she's still overfeeding her cat, but like otherwise she's pretty good. So.
I wish it was that easy to stop panic attacks.
Right?
Just go, actually, I'm fine.
And yeah, I'm good,
Yeah, and then, now we're on to Big. He arrives at Carrie's door, and she opens it, and he's like, okay, good, you're not dead, and then turns around and goes to leave.
Yeah.
Just the only funny thing.
He does say some funny things every once in a while. But then Carrie's just like, wait. And then they start making out. And then Carrie's like, let's go out. And so they go bowling, because Carrie's like, I wanted to take him to like the least sexual place possible.
True, bowling is not sexual.
Bowling is fun though, but it's not sexual.
Fun, but it's not like, we're going to go to a restaurant and have a candlelit like conversation.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
No.
But they like make it as sexy as they can possibly make bowling, because they're just like, they're both drunk because they've had 2 pitchers of beer together.
So they've had a pitcher of beer each.
Yeah, they've had a pitcher of beer, and like they're just being all like faces close together again. It's really gross. I hate it. I hate looking at it. And Big gets a strike, and he's like, he won. Then Carrie's like, let's make it best 2 out of 3. Big says, you sure you want to get killed all over again? Which is a little bit on the nose. And then Carrie's just like, I didn't know what we were talking about anymore.
I wish Big had said pwned. That would have been funnier.
Oh my God.
Big is a gamer.
Carrie gets pwned at bowling.
If this is 2018, he would have a fucking Xbox.
He would.
It can't come over, Carrie. I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2.
He would have a fucking PS4.
He would have a PS4. He would have both. He's rich.
He would have both. Yeah, true. But they don't even get fucking motherfucker. I hate him. They don't even get to game 2 because Harry's like, yeah, let's do it. And then they just fucking leave and go back to his place and start boning, I guess.
Yeah. No, why didn't she say no? I think she says she didn't have sex with him, even though it was hard.
Really? Because when you see them in bed together, it very looks like they're boning.
Oh, they're in bed together? Okay, I didn't. I just decided not to watch this scene then.
Yeah, well, you're in luck. You can just headcanon that they didn't. You see them in bed and you're like, oh, great. And she basically says, we were reincarnated and I'd never felt more alive.
Ugh. Okay, headcanon, they've never fucked. Ever.
Right? Ever. It makes the whole show a little bit hard to understand, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the episode.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff here that was just, I didn't like to see it, and it was bad. And like some stuff was good, but there wasn't like one good plot that really stood out this week. They were all like mediocre or bad.
Yeah.
So,
what's your rankings?
I don't know. I feel like I'd put. Well, Carrie's last. Carrie's dead last because she's the furthest from valid that she's been in weeks.
Yeah. Funny how when she's away from Big,
Mhm.
We like her.
It's interesting how she can be the top character sometimes. I don't even know. The thing is, maybe Miranda was my top because she does the whole like independent woman, buys her own place, puts up with other people's bullshit and stuff. I don't know, but it's still not that great. And then I think I'm gonna say Samantha second because I don't know, her episode is kind of interesting, but the ending is just kind of stupid. And then Charlotte third. I don't know. This was also stupid.
Yeah, I think I would definitely go
That was
Miranda
it.
at the top. And then, I don't know. Everyone else kind of sucks in this episode. Samantha, I guess, she didn't really do anything too wrong.
Yeah.
And she was at least funny, and she met Leonardo DiCaprio, which sounds fun. And then I guess Charlotte and Carrie are both at the bottom. Charlotte for just being a complete weirdo.
Yeah, Charlotte just, I don't understand what the fuck she was doing in this episode. Like, I don't think she was worse than Carrie, but like, they're both just sucked ass this week.
Yeah.
So,
oh, questions?
Yeah, let's move to questions. Send us questions at citygirlsmakedo.tumblr.com/ask.
Yeah. And I'm taking these from here. We have 2 questions, both from friends of the show, guests of the show. First one is from Summer, who is at Ghostly Princess on Tumblr. She'll probably be Interstellar Princess by the time this is released. If not, I don't know, Elf Princess?
Ooh, I like that.
Ice Princess. I don't know. Maybe something Christmassy. We don't know. Summer, keep us updated. But she asks, maybe it's morbid, but we're all mortal. I don't know what I said.
To assume.
Yeah. What do your ideal funerals look like?
I don't know if I have an ideal funeral. I mean, I've always said before that I'd like there to be like Lord of the Rings music playing at it, either the
True.
Breaking of the Fellowship or Samwise the Brave. But that's pretty much all I've thought about before. I guess it'd be kind of cool. Like, I'm not religious and neither is like my family really. So it doesn't need to be like in a church or anything. I don't know. I would like it if people like had a good time, but we're also sad. I don't know. Maybe they could wear purple.
Yeah, you could do purple instead of black. That'd be nice. Purple and black. Actually, purple and black go really well together.
Yeah.
I think, because I've thought about this, I'm a big fan of, let me get her name up, because, like, on my mum's side, they're all spiritualists, so luckily my mum and my grandmother are, like, really cool about talking about death, which is nice.
That's cool.
Because I think you have to be kind of open about it. And this woman called Caitlin Doherty, I think.
Oh.
Or Ask a Mortician on YouTube. And she's just like really good work for making people talk about death and what you want done with your body and how you want your funeral and like the different options available to you, which I think everyone should know, because you are going to die. And when that happens, or when someone close to you dies, it's obviously a very upsetting time. So if you have plans in place, then you can honor someone without, like, you know, you can grieve without having like the added pressure of now needing to plan a whole funeral, essentially.
Yeah.
So I have been kind of open about it with like my family, but I guess let's get it recorded. This is my living
will.
I will. Imagine they have to play this whole thing when I die, and my mum has to hear me say stuff like cucking. It's great. No, I think I would want it to be as like eco-friendly as possible, really. I like those like natural cemetery places where it's just like in the woods.
Yeah, those are cool where they like turn you into a tree.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
I'd want to be buried, I think.
I very much don't want to be buried. I mean, I would be fine being buried if I was cremated first, but I don't know. I don't like the idea of like, I think it's because one of my biggest fears is like suffocating or like being buried alive or drowning.
I think that's why those like American caskets are so huge and like why do you need cushions? You're dead.
I don't know. Like, I'd rather be burned alive than buried alive, probably. So, like, I'd rather like, as long as I've been cremated first, then do whatever you want. Okay. I've heard people say before that you can get your ashes like pressed into vinyl.
Oh yeah.
Before, which sounds a little bit weird. Like, I don't know if there's even a single album that I'd feel like I'd be fine being on for the rest of my life.
My mum has said that, like, you know, if I want to turn her into a necklace, she'd be cool with that.
That's kind of cool.
I don't know if I want to wear my mother's ashes around. That sounds kind of gross. I think it's nice to have like a little, you know, ashes are nice. But yeah, I'd want something like eco-friendly and as goth as possible. If anyone's planning my funeral, I want... Okay, this is very specific, but like the reason I got ivy tattooed on me is because I'm kind of obsessed with those like statues you find in cemeteries where they're like covered in ivy and all mossy. And it's like an angel. I love those. So if you can get me one of those, I'm down with that.
Nice.
Like very Tim Burton-y. And if you can, I want like veils, I want parasols, I want lace gloves.
If I was getting buried, it would be cool to like have a really cool outfit on. But
yeah, I'm fine. Like I'm fine with me just being in whatever, something biodegradable in a cardboard box. I don't care. But everyone else should be full goth. And, you know, maybe, I don't know, some of my actor friends could like really ham it up, throw themselves onto the casket or something.
God, I would love that.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, you know, I like the whole idea of celebrating someone's life, but I am a melodramatic, melancholy person.
Yeah.
So I've always been fucking overdramatic and like into weird dark stuff. So my funeral should correlate. Recreate fucking Helena. The music video to Helena. Just do that.
That would be so badass. That music video is so good, though.
It's so good. Just do that. Just like make it as fucking emo as possible.
As dramatic as possible.
Yeah. Cover my fucking coffin with like. You remember the like I baked you a cookie, but I ate it.
Yeah.
And like MySpace, like emo pictures. Just I don't know, just make it fucking dramatic and weird and play Jolene. I don't know.
I feel like I need to close this episode out with Helena now. It's so good.
So good. And it is that is the aesthetic of my funeral I'm going for.
I love that.
Yeah. Wear eyeliner. Wear mascara that is not waterproof, so when you cry, it's streaming down your face and you look wild. Please.
Everyone is wearing eyeliner, regardless of gender.
Yeah. Fuck gender.
Fuck gender, wear eyeliner.
There you go. It's our official stance.
That's our take.
Thank you, Summer.
Thank you, Summer, as always.
Yeah. Next one is from Lola, who is Envy Adams on Tumblr. And she asks, if you were reincarnated as an animal after you died, what would it be? People need to stop asking us about personas.
Lola being like subtly asking us about our personas. I mean, penguins are my favorite animal, so I'm tempted to say penguins. I hate eating fish. I don't like the taste, but if I was a penguin, I guess I would like it. I just love them, so.
You do like a penguin. My government assigned persona is a Sphinx cat.
Ooh.
Which, I don't know, I feel like a cat would be like a very like privileged cat would be quite nice. Just sitting in the sun but again, I hate the taste of fish.
It just tastes bad. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not nice. Never liked it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'd quite like to be something. I'd like to be in a new environment, perhaps. Maybe like everyone always talks about how they want to be a bird. I think I'd go marine. So maybe a shark or something. Again, I hate fish, but presumably I'll like it.
Yeah. Yeah, like same with penguin. Like it's just such a different environment.
Yeah.
Because I could be like an African penguin and I could live on the beach and it could be nice and warm out. And plus penguins are like sometimes gay.
True.
So there's fingers crossed. Wings
yeah,
crossed.
if I'm an animal, I'm a gay one. I'm not going to be no stray animals.
Need to reincarnate as an animal that can dab, and a penguin can dab. So.
I used to have a book that was about gay penguins.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, I think this is when I kind of knew I was a little bit gay at the very least, and I like made my mum buy it for me.
So good.
So yeah, I'd be a gay shark.
I love it. Just don't eat my gay penguin.
I won't.
Okay.
No, we can hang out. Or I could be a whale and then, yeah, we can hang out.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. I'll just eat seals, but I won't eat you. It's fine.
Ocean girls make do.
Oh, aquamarine. We're in H2O, just add water.
Oh, I love this.
This show would be so much better if actually, if you're listening to this, just pretend we're, I don't know, in a cave. We're in our grotto under the water and we're just chatting and flapping our fins around.
I mean, that's canon. That's just what's happening.
If you don't imagine every single episode as us, as mermaids, then sorry. If we ever get fan art.
Oh my God. Please send your fan art to citygirlsmakedo at tumblr.com. .tumblr.com.
I think that's it.
That's our questions. That's our episode.
Yeah, that was our amazing episode. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far. And yeah, you can find us, like we said, on citygirlsmakedo.tumblr.com. You can also email us at citygirlsmakedo@gmail.com. And we're also on Twitter as @citygirlsmakedo.
And you can find me on Twitter at Age of Oddish. You can find me on Tumblr at Windfall Island. And also you can find me this week on My Pod Cabbages. The episode should come out like 2 days before this one does. That is a show hosted by guest and friend of the show, Summer, and her husband, Noah. And they're talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender. So that episode will be really fun. I broke their podcast, so I'm excited for everyone to hear it.
I'm excited to listen to it. I can't wait.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you can find me on... Wow, I forgot where I was. Yeah, you can find me on Tumblr at DorPhoenix, and I'm not on Twitter.
Valid.
Yeah.
So long and good night.
So long and good night.